Boys, we're talking about competitive today. By the way, happy Sunday, everyone. I'm sorry, I've been away for the past few days, but God, is it good to be back. Got my setup back, sleeping on my own mattress again. Look, I miss my wife and kid when I'm gone, but right up there, man, at the top of the list is my mattress. But moving into today's discussion, let's talk about the competitive playlist. I had some things clarified for me on how changes are going to be affecting competitive going forward. As you know, about 10 days ago, we got to see from Bungie that competitive was going to change in some major ways. First up, competitive is being replaced overall by 3v3 survival. That's a major change considering that we've had pretty much the same rotating playlists inside of competitive, that be countdown, survival, control, and clash for like the past year. Now things are going to survival. It almost like aligns itself with that of like a clash or slay out mentality and that of elimination. Like it's not as extreme as something like elimination, as like once you die in elim, that's it, right? You gotta either get someone to res you or the round's pretty much done. But at the same time, survival is not as heavy on the slaying as something like control and clash is. Most sweat players like things like control and clash, and most trial players like something like either survival or countdown, as it's the closest thing we currently have to elimination. Now, elimination's coming back, but it will be its own playlist inside of Crucible Labs, and like we said before and what was shown to us by Bungie, we should expect 4 different variants of elimination. And I'm assuming whichever elimination we like the most, however way we're supposed to give our feedback to Bungie, is what could potentially become the permanent playlist inside of competitive in the future. Now, I know Bungie has not announced that, nor have they said anything to me that alluded to that. That's just my assumption. Now, with that change to competitive going to 3v3 survival, simultaneously, one of the biggest changes is that they're adding a solo queue playlist that also awards glory. Now that is a huge change. In all of this gameplay right here, this is me playing solo inside of comp. And sometimes you go up against other solo players just like yourself. Other times you go up against 4 stacks. Now I don't necessarily have a statistic at the top of my head, but I can tell you it becomes exponentially more difficult to win against 4 stacks as they have things like open communication. So the likelihood of you getting boned in that match goes up greatly when people actually talk to each other, which is why I am always trying to talk to people. I'm like, hey, what you doing? What are you wearing? You want to go to C point and leave B alone? No one replies to me, man. With something like a solo playlist, that'll probably be the case, where most people are just going to want to do their own thing, not talk to anyone, and it really just comes down to you being just individually skilled versus a 4 stack just rolling you up like a doobie. Very good changes on that front. But the biggest change, and like I've mentioned so many big changes, but there's so many big changes in regards to competitive. The other big change, which would change the entire experience inside of competitive, is the matchmaking itself. You see, Bungie states right here that competitive matchmaking has always tracked player skill behind the scenes, taking into account things like kills, damage dealt, and so forth. Those factors will contribute to a player's skill rating. So like an actual true skill rating will be attributed to that player. In Season 8, which is Shadowkeep season, they will be mapping out skill ratings to glory ranks, with the lowest end of the scale mapping to Guardian 1 and the high end mapping to Legend. Most players are somewhere between these extremes. As you begin to play the survival playlist, the glory system will accelerate you to the rank that corresponds to your skill rating. If your current rank is below where your skill rating says you should be, you'll earn extra glory based on the criteria above, so you can get your expected rank faster and lose less glory, so you don't fall further away. Once you reach your expected rank, glory gains and losses will normalize. Meanwhile, your skill rating is continually adjusting based on your performance, shifting the system's understanding of your expected rank and causing the glory system to respond by pulling you toward that rank. The result should be that over time, your glory rank will become an accurate reflection of your skill. It also means that teammates of different skill will experience different glory adjustments from the same survival match. Okay, so one of the main things that I wanted to discover last week was how Bungie defines what this true skill rating system is. Sounds like ELO, but it's actually not, which was like my assumption going into this, which is why when we previously talked about the competitive ranking changes, I was very much concerned that the teams that were going to thrive the most were actually account recovery teams. So first up, let's talk about the part about skill rating is continually adjusting based on your performance. Turns out that skill rating system adjusts by the minute, which is completely opposite of what we originally thought. I thought it was going to be like by a 5 or 10 game basis and then take an average from those 5 or 10 games. No, it actually will dynamically adjust in game based on your performance, which is kind of crazy. But if accurately reflected, this true skill system will be amazing, because as long as you're doing really good, the skill ranking system will think you are a much higher ranked player, thus resulting in that match when you win, or if you win, you should receive a load of points. Now it sounds like a win only for the high skill players. Turns out it's actually not, because what happens is those players that are supposed to actually be legend ranked, that always seem to find themselves in your lobby, they will be lifted very quickly to their associated ranks, thus resulting in your lobby being players that are of similar skill. So again, it's a win-win here. Now the biggest win out of all of that is considering that the ranking system will adjust by the minute. Recovery teams will immediately be picked up on, to the point that people that are doing account recoveries, they will find themselves matchmaking against other players of similar true skill. Again, this is matchmaking based on true skill. The moment the game thinks you are supposed to be a legend player, they will start to match you against other legend players, thus resulting, if you get a win, to be a much greater point gain, which means that the fun time that most account recovery services have in terms of being able to just go in there and play players of lower skill that are sub 2100, they will now find themselves matchmaking players of similar skill within one game, thus resulting in most players, I would assume, with this ranking system, opting out of something like account recoveries. Like, it may just be better for you to just let matchmaking work on your account, let it figure out your true skill, and then of course just proceed to raise your rank by yourself, as having somebody go in there and messing with your account and altering that true skill might really make things more difficult for you. Like, if the game suddenly starts thinking you're supposed to be legend and you get back on your account to play with it, be prepared, because you're now about to be going up against legend type players of that similar true skill. So for guys that really rely on account recoveries, I would be super wary of doing that in this next season. On the other side of things, losing inside of competitive going into the next season results in you losing less points, and I'm pretty sure if you've got a win streak going, losing doesn't reset your win streak. I'm pretty sure it just removes one game from that win streak. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. We've had like a lot of TWABs over the past few weeks with a lot of different information thrown at us, but I'm pretty sure going forward, if you have a win streak, that will not be completely reset upon a loss. Instead, you just get a game removed. So overall, guys, competitive has got some major changes. I'm glad I got some clarity on it, as some of the things that we read in past TWABs left some room there for misinterpretation. I think these changes here are going to be really solid overall. I think the only thing that the comp playlist is really missing is something for players to achieve past legend rank. And I'm not talking about pinnacle weapons like Not Forgotten. I more or less am talking about some way for a legend player to kind of peacock, as like True Vanguard says. High skill players, man, they like to peacock in some way. If it's either like an emblem or armor or something. But me talking with a couple of high skill comp players, I asked them what is something that they like. Some of them are actually ex-COD players. And considering that this true skill system is being involved now for matchmaking, they asked, would it be possible for something like a prestige system being introduced inside of Destiny? An emblem that changes each time you reset your rank. And resetting your rank won't necessarily be an issue, as you're not matchmaking against lower ranked players. No, you're matchmaking against other skill players through the true skill system. The only difference is you're gaining rank versus just sitting there capped at 5,500. And on top of that, have some sort of emblem that changes each time you reset that rank. And I don't know how many times you would want it to change. Like, I would assume getting to 5,500 like 3 times in a season, that's quite a feat. But there are players, man, that live inside the competitive playlist every single day. I've got many in my own clan. Pure Chill, ZK, those guys love some comp. And if you gave them a reason to continually keep grinding, and then at the end of the season have some sort of Omega emblem there to show, whoa, this man has ran this race 3 or 4 different times, all in one season. And he's got this really dope emblem that changes with each reset. Essentially a prestige system from from COD. I didn't play much COD, but I'm sure my Call of Duty players in here has some insight on this system. Is this something that you would like? And if not, that's completely okay. You might not ever want something like this. I'm just trying to think of other reasons to invest inside of comp. Like for me, I just get in, I get whatever rank I need to get just to get my weapons, and then I bounce, and that's it for me. If there was an emblem or something for me to sit there and showboat with, I think I probably would. I probably would stay in comp a lot more, especially considering it's about to be survival. So guys, those are the changes coming to comp, as well as some of the things that I hope to see that may change for competitive. Again though, on this topic, especially the last topic that we talked about, that really is reliant on what you think in the comment section. If this is something you would like to see, you have more sway than what you think. Okay, guys? So feel free to comment below your thoughts. With that being said, fellas, there is a giveaway going on right now. We are giving away 5 copies of Shadowkeep. I had somebody earlier pitch in another 3 copies. I really don't want to go more than 10 because it's kind of a nightmare tracking down everybody. But I'm doing all of this through Discord. This is the Gleam link right here. It's also in the description. All you have to do is be a member of our Discord and voila, you're in. And either me or one of my admins, most likely me though, will contact you if you are a winner. Don't be clicking links or giving away personal information, man, if someone contacts you and tells you you're a winner. I'm just gonna back up and say I will be the only one that contacts you if you win, okay? And before some sketchy links start getting sent out to everyone. The drawing will be pulled next Sunday though, which will be a few days before Shadowkeep launches. I'm doing this purposely so that you can have your code and you can pre-download Shadowkeep way in advance before it launches. So as of right now, we're giving away 8 copies of Shadowkeep. We're probably gonna max that out at 10, no more than 10 hopefully. But yeah, that's happening. So fellas, check it out whenever you can. Thank you all for coming and watching though, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.